We are excited to be working with Edelbrock, having the folks from Edelbrock Group with us today on the webinar. And I'd like to welcome everybody that's watching that's not on the panel discussion. So to begin with, I want to talk just briefly about CarBuff Network, what we do. Most people are probably familiar with it, but I like to, at least at the beginning, start out by touching on that. And I am going to do a screen share here and go over to the customer build page on Edelbrock's website. And is that showing up? Are you able to see that? Okay.
That's up.
So with CarBuff Network, we have tools that we've developed, and manufacturers are starting to use these tools and put them on their own websites. And the purpose of us doing this is to make it easier for branding for the manufacturers, but also to get exposure for the builds that their customers are putting together. And so this is a way on the vehicle directory. This is a way for companies like Edelbrock, Performance to have the directory on your own website. So on Edelbrock's site, I hover over company, click on customer builds, then it takes us over to the vehicle directory page. And then from there, you can click on a vehicle profile and look through the build. And then the key to this is the tech sheet. This is what ties everybody together. And so the companies that are tagged on the build then have the opportunity to promote the build through their own social media and also on their website. And I will go ahead and go back to the panel. So,
excuse me.
I would like to introduce Trent Goodwin. I reached out to Trent a month ago and we talked just briefly about doing a panel discussion. And so I'm going to turn the time over to you. And what I'd like you to do is introduce yourself, but I also have just a couple questions for you and the rest of the Edelbrock Group panel members. So here are the questions that we would like to know, and just keeping in mind an hour goes really fast, so just keep it as short as you can. But what we'd like to know is how you got into the industry, what you do at Edelbrock Group, or what your title is, and then what would your dream build be if you could build something and you had unlimited funds and access to all the parts you wanted. What would that be? So I'll go ahead and turn that over to you.
Yeah, well, Trent Jr., thank you so much for the wonderful, warm invite. You know, there's only room for one Trent, in this, program here. So I'm the master Trent when it comes to that. So with that being said, I've always had a nick for automotive stuff. When I was a young kid, my dad bought me my very first car when I was 12 years old. And I still have that car today. And he says, you know what? I was like, because I came to him and we used to go to the NASCAR races and the NHR races and we'd go to the car shows. And I said, I'd like to fix a car up. He goes, okay, I'll buy one, but I'm not going to turn a wrench unless you're there with me. So I learned step by step on how to do everything. And from there, playing with toys as a kid to racing games on an arcade system to now living it. It's been a career, it's been a life, it's been a passion, and I love every bit of it. When you go to work every day and your goals and aspirations are to make more horsepower, what's better than that? I mean, who wants to look at books? Who wants to sell carpet? Come on. This is a very unique industry where you really get to live your passion, and it's really fun to do. And I just hope other people get to experience that in whatever facet they do. So my role here for Edelbrock Group is the marketing, media, editorial, event, and advertising specialist. So, depending upon which day, depends on which hat I put on. But yeah, got a lot of things that fall under my umbrella, but that's what makes every day fun. You never know what hurdle is going to be coming your way and how you fix it and resolve it and what project you get to work on next. Now, as far as a dream build, there is no one build. I'm sorry, but as a hot rodder, I'd love to have a 32 deuce roadster, but I went to NSRA Street Rod Nationals just this last weekend and I saw a kit car that called my name. It was all aluminum chassis Lamborghini Countach. And I was like, oh, twin turbo LS swap in a Countach. That'd be a lot of fun, straight 80s vibe. But I got a ton of project cars at home, so I don't need any more hot rods. I got plenty of those. So I got a 79 Camaro, a 61 Impala bubble top, 60 Impala hardtop, and a 1970 C10 crew cab short wheelbase truck I'm finishing. So
I could see why you can't pick just one.
exactly. Most of them are Chevys though. So
yeah, well, there you go. But you make a good point. Going to that race and seeing something that is completely different than a 32 Ford, but loving it. Yeah, that's really what drives this industry, is just the totally different opportunities or options.
absolutely.
Let's do this. Trent, why don't you pass that on to someone in your group, and let's just go through everybody on the Edelbrock side of this panel.
Well, next on mine would be Mr. Chris Mays. So, Chris, you got it.
Got it, huh? Hey, just to reiterate some of the things that Trent said, I started in this industry about 40 years ago. And, 1985 was my first year still in high school. And the thing that drives us so much, on a daily basis is, we're inside of our hobbies working day in and day out. Gordon Holloway said, nobody ever made me have to go out and get a real job. So we enjoy it each and every day. It's our passion. When Scooter Brothers hired me, he said, "What do you want to do here?" I'd been a sales manager. I'd done purchasing. I'd done lots of things from the manufacturing side. And I said, "I just want to make guys go fast. I want to make cool parts." So that's kind of where we're at today. And I'm now in the sales manager role for our engine builder and technical support groups. And it's a challenge each and every day. We love selling parts. We love selling new parts. So I kind of fall all the way down even though we're on the front line each and every day with the engine builders and the end consumers, we still fall further down the line after the new product development comes our way. So it's a lot of fun things happening. SEMA just right around the corner. So we're looking forward to some more exciting new parts coming up for 2024, 2025.
So Chris,
So Mays,
what would it be?
Go ahead.
Your dream build.
I tell you, I've had a lot of cool hot rods over the years, and I was fortunate enough to have a 1967 Chevy 2 as my first car. And since I've sold off most of my hot rods, still looking to build that next dream 67 Chevy 2. Now that I've got kids that are just about out of the house and through college, now I won't have a workbench sitting in the garage, and it's time to get some of Daddy's toys back in there, and instead of playing travel sports and following them all around the country.
Yep, that's definitely how it works.
It is, and it's not something that I would, I relish all of those days, but still down deep, you want to get you want to get back into your hot rod roots after you had that little time off, so to speak.
All right. Thanks, Chris. Let's see here. Why don't we go to, let's go to Mike.
Hey everyone. So my name is Mike Sanders. I'm Senior Director of Product here at the Edelbrock Group. I've been in the industry for about 23 and a half years, I would say. I started in 2000 up in Detroit. I'm originally from Detroit. Started there with at Dart Machinery, working for Dart heads, blocks, manifolds under Richard Maskin. And it's a tremendous honor to be working for the Edelbrock Group now. So I moved down here with my family about 3 years ago. Great people, great community, great business. So I'm really enjoying myself here and look forward to what I can help bring to this company and the rest of the family here. As far as my my dream build, I would think when well, let me back up. So when I was 14, I bought my first car. I couldn't drive it, but it was a 1971 Chevelle. And from the time I was 14 to the time I was 16, I restored it, built my first 350 engine in it, really had it painted, did a really good job at it. And I really enjoyed that through my high school career. And then ended up selling it like a dummy. I regret it every single day, but I feel like if I was going to build another car, it would be a 71 Chevelle just to bring me back to those days where I learned everything that got me to who I am today.
Yeah, we all, well, probably most of us have the build that got away, right? Or at least our first.
Yep.
Yeah. That's pretty special if you can maybe kind of go back to your roots of, you know, what it was that started the interest.
Yep, 100%.
Let's see here. Let's go to Sean and then Cindy. I'm leaving you last because I figure you're probably the cleanup crew here. This is your group, so I'm going to give you the last word here. But Sean, go for it.
Yeah, I'm Sean Brereton. I'm the content specialist for Edelbrock Group. I've been here about 2 years, but previously worked for a company called Acceleration Media that was it wasn't owned by Comp, but it was owned by the owners of Comp. So worked for them for 4 years here. So I'm pretty much responsible for writing anything. Well, I guess anything really, like copy editing. I write the anything that's on EG Nation, egnation.com website is anything that's on there is written by me. So yeah, that's what I do here. And then builds. I still have my first car that I bought when I was 16 for $1,500. It's a 55 Chevy that is my baby. And then I own a 67 Ford Fairlane that has a GT500 swap in it, 09 GT500 engine in it that my dad built. And then I guess as far as my next hot rod, I would really like a 32 coupe. Don't know if that'll ever happen or not, if I'll have enough money to do it, but that's kind of the big one that's on my list. I've always wanted a hot rod, a true hot rod, and that's probably my dream build for sure. That's it.
It's I think your dream could potentially become a reality because the older, you know, the traditional hot rods are going on sale in the next 10 years.
I don't know, man. They don't seem to be going down in price any. I can tell you that.
Yeah. The 32, and you don't want the Roadster. You want the coupe.
Yeah, I'd love to have a coupe.
Yeah.
And I figured out I can't fit in a 31. A 31 or a 30, they're so small.
Yeah, no, there's not much you can do in a 31.
Yeah.
All right, Cindy, we're going to turn it over to you for a few minutes. Sorry,
Okay.
Turn this thing off.
I'm Cindy Phillips. I'm the marketing director here at Edelbrock Group. I have a very much less tenure of years here. I've only got 1 month in my belt. So I'm very green here at the company. But I come from about 30 years in marketing. I've been at some other industries. I have been in automotive at one point in my career, but I've been with DC Motors, HVAC, electrical, industrial. So I've had kind of a vast experience across the marketing gamut of a lot of different venues. And if I got to go with the build here, I got to go with a 1964.5 Mustang. That was my very first car.
Wow.
Yeah.
So was it a convertible? Did they have convertibles? They did, didn't they?
They did, but it wasn't. It was the coupe.
The coupe. So if you could do that again, you would?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because it was an experience yet again, bonding with my dad. He bought it. He rebuilt the engine. He repainted it. It was what I got me back and forth to college. But it also took a quart of oil a day to run it.
Right.
But it was an awesome car. Yeah.
Yeah, my wife, when I first met her, she's not a car person so much, but she had those tin signs, and it had a 65 Mustang coupe on it, red one. And that's what that or a newer Mustang. She loves the way the newer Mustang manual. So she wants to shift it, but either the 65 coupe or a newer Mustang.
Yeah.
Well, all right. This is good. We wanted to get kind of the faces behind the brand on this panel discussion. And in this industry, we know that the foundation of it is relationships. That's what makes our industry really work. And Edelbrock's been around for a long time. There's a lot of relationships I'm sure that your company has established through the years, same with Comp, and other brands that you guys have as a group. And so we're excited to be able to see the faces behind the brand here with you guys and have some discussion. So I want to introduce my group, CB7. This is a group of people that I've come across over the last 10 years. And for one reason or another, I kind of earmarked them for if I ever, put a group together. I think for one reason or another, like I say, they would fit into this. And so CB7 was started about 2 years ago at SEMA, and started with 7 people in the trailer in the Tremec booth. And that's why we call it CB7, but there's obviously more than that now. But this group, they're all in the business, whether they're in advertising, marketing, media, manufacturing, shops, full-time YouTube. We cover all aspects of it. And so it's a good sounding board for CarBuff Network to have these people kind of giving us advice on direction and things that we pay attention to. So really quickly, I'm going to go through who's able to be on the call today with us from CB7. So we've got Brian Shepard from Rock Jock 4x4. Brian's been with the Currys for 25 years in marketing with them, and went over to Rock Jock when the two brothers split. So we appreciate Brian being here. Sean, you already heard from, but Sean is actually also, he's with Edelbrock Group, but he is part of CB7. I met Sean probably 10 years ago in Detroit at the Autorama. We've got Tom Maddock with Tom Shop. Tom's a full-time YouTuber, recovering engineer. He was in nuclear engineering for, 15, 16 years, and decided to start building cars full time, or going on YouTube originally with Matt's Off-Road Recovery, and then now Tom does his own thing and building the recovery vehicle for SEMA, or not for SEMA, probably hopefully going to an event by the end of the year, but then maybe SEMA next year. So we'll see what happens. with that, but he's building a recovery truck that's going to be pretty awesome. Terry McGeehan from Hemmings Motor News. Terry's got a long history in the media side of the industry, and 25, 30 years in that. So he brings a really good perspective from that side of the industry. We got Danny Augusta. He's third generation in steel rubber products. Danny's grandpa started steel rubber, and Danny now runs the marketing and sales for steel rubber, and has been very involved with HRIA and SEAM and all that. So just good perspective on that side of the business. We've got Zach Zamudio. Zach started Pyramid Optimized, a group of engineers, probably about 10 or 11 of them, and they specialize in just designing and then developing really cool products. We built the Wagoneer, which is behind me in my picture. That was my dream build. I grew up with Wagoneers and had one in high school, let it go. And then these guys helped me build one a couple of years ago. Anyway, Zach did the valve covers on that. We have a 392 in that, late model 392, and Zach did the valve covers for that to make it look like an old motor. And by the way, yes, we do have an Edelbrock intake on that Jeep. So let's see here. We got Nate Staker. Nate and his dad, Rob, built the Jeep and are currently building a 70 Chevelle that will be taken to SEMA this year and debut in the Tremec transmission booth there. But Nate's been in the business since he was born, and is kind of helping his dad transition the business from hot rods to, I think you guys probably have about 13 Broncos, early Broncos in your shop. So they do a lot of Broncos and just a lot of really cool stuff there. Michael Pettis with Eddie's Rod and Custom. Michael works with his brother Eddie and his dad, build very high-end cars. They're usually in Battle of the Builders when they're at SEMA, and so they just kind of help push the envelope on the builds. And then Matt Zerbrick. Matt is with 5 O'Clock Garage. He is based in Detroit. He's in the heart of all the OE stuff. So Matt does a lot with Stellantis, Jeep, Dodge, Ford, GM, and now has his own shop. He's had a shop for a while, but now he's got about a 30,000 square foot shop that they do all kinds of crazy stuff in. And just went to Matt, what was that event you guys took? They got a Hurricane.
Yeah, so we took Dodge's new Hurricane motor and put it in my 2018 Demon, and we made the finals. So it was pretty cool. And now we designed a lot of parts for that motor, so we're starting to get those in so we can bring the power up and maybe make a 8 or 9 second car out of a inline 6.
So there you go. That's what's fun about this industry is you get people with a passion, and then you surround yourself with people that can do really cool stuff, and you just start creating new things, new products. So that's my group. So let's do this. This is awesome. We have over 30 minutes to actually have questions and answers. So we may get through all of our questions today. So we have kind of preloaded the questions just to make sure that these guys and Cindy are prepared for the questions that we have. So I asked the members of CV7 to come up with some questions specific, so everyone would have an opportunity from Edelbrock Group to answer a question. And so the way we're going to go about this, just so we keep it moving for everybody, is I'm going to initially talk with Trent Goodwin, my senior apparently, and we'll talk just a little bit about how you guys work with CarBuff, and then we'll go from there. I'll keep it moving from there. But Trent, my question for you is working with CarBuff. You guys, we've been working together now for maybe a year, around there. And it's been kind of an evolution for us with you guys, kind of helping us test things out. But my question for you is, how do you use CarBuff Network to brand the companies that you guys have?
Well, I mean, to be honest, we've always had an eye on your platform with CarBuff Network over the years. We were just never at a really a full point to fully utilize it. And then we finally, we both came to an agreement where it's like, okay, it's time. Let's do this. Let's, figure out a way to feed us content while, getting customers' cars in the spotlight, and that's really how this all panned out, at the media trade conference. And we sat across and we talked about it and got some ideas. And, from there, I mean, the platform itself is pretty awesome, for any manufacturer in the industry to fully utilize it, because not only do you allow customers to showcase their cars, but they get to help showcase our products. So then we can see who's using what products and how, why, and that allows us to get that information in return to create content or social post. So it feeds both sides. It feeds everybody involved, because customers love showcasing their cars, and we as manufacturers always truly struggle with finding that content. They're all over the place, but there was never really a good home to be able to find that without just doing a generic Facebook post. Hey, who has this manifold? Who's running our camshafts? It was never really successful, but with this platform, it thins the herd for us, and it allows us to narrow those searches down. It allows us to see who's running what, and it's a great tool. It's not just a media center; it's literally a tool for us. And I know Sean Brereton had been working with you vigorously on some updates, as he was going through some things and found some snags or here and there. But that was great, because I feel without us jumping on board, some of these things may have never been caught, and it helped streamline some of the processes. So both sides helped each other to sort of refine this program that benefits us, obviously, as well as you and the, customers.
Yeah. In that you make a good point. We've been working as CarBuff for the last 12, well, almost 15 years now. And it's been built through the relationships, like getting feedback from you guys and others, but that's critical to us. And I think probably what helps us continue to grow is that we really we listen to what's being said, and we try to implement what makes sense, not just to us, but to, the manufacturers in general that have issues. And you're talking about the challenge of finding content, and that is a universal challenge.
Absolutely.
For manufacturers, is finding the relevant content, and trying to sift through social media can be challenging, because there's so much noise in social media. And that's been a real focus of ours, is to try to kind of sort through all that and create a platform that is really easy and easy to navigate, but also easy to work together with companies. So
absolutely, it's a great platform, and I know I just wish it wouldn't have taken us this long to jump on board to help out and for us to grow together. But now I'm happy we are. I think it's great. It's a great tool for us to utilize, and I know it makes Sean's job a little easier. We love making Sean's job easier.
Well, all kidding aside, that is our goal, is to make it easier for the marketing teams with these manufacturers. I'm gonna do a soundbite capture on what you just said, because every time that we bring on a new company, almost without fail, that's what I hear, is I wish it wouldn't have taken us so long to get involved. I hear that every time.
It'll cost you $10.
Yeah, well, I'll give you 20, because we're
Okay.
Anyway, thanks for saying it. I hear it all the time, but it's validating for us wanting to try to make, create something that is actually a useful tool.
Absolutely.
All right, Nate, we'll go to you. I'm gonna have you ask the first question, and we'll go from there.
Okay.
The question's for Chris Mays. Coming from builders and installers, I mean, industry wide, and especially, I mean, I call myself a small operation. We've got 5 to 6 employees, and we're cranking through work most days, and we feel like we can do a better job at capturing content for your companies and providing feedback as well. What type of content and what type of feedback is most helpful for you and your company?
Nice to meet you, Nate. I would say in thinking about this as a whole, no matter the size of the company, small or large, the one good thing that we always want to hear from our customers is, about the product, about the fitment, about what we can do better to make that part better for you as an installer. I look at that, when I buy parts, whether it be, brakes or something that we necessarily don't manufacture, but me as a car guy too, I always want to have that communication, to flow back and forth. That's, the relationships that we built over the years with all of the, builders we've got around us, nationwide, we always look for that, feedback from them, and we don't make a part that's just, specific to every car. You're doing Coyote swaps in Broncos,
Yeah.
And if we do, a supercharger kit, let's just say, it's not necessarily going to fit a 1970s, Bronco for every single fitting and what you call me and you say, hey, if you do this for this particular application, it'll work better in these Broncos, let's just say. So that good positive feedback, and that's why, SEMA, PRI both have been such good places and platforms for us to be, here as sales guys, and we can, push that further down the product, down to our product categories, and the guys that are developing those new parts to try to make something better. I was talking with Fred, he's one of our VPs here earlier, and he gave me a quote that, and we were just talking, but it's the endless pursuit of the next best thing. And he had gotten that from one of his CEOs when he was working for a company out of Japan. And it stuck with me today, just knew we were coming on to do this panel today. And, I just think back to all the history behind not only Vic Edelbrock and Scooter and the guys that, that started comp cams, it's the biggest saying, we've got a big picture down here at the end of one of the halls, and it's got this big quote on it. It's amazing what can be accomplished when nobody cares who gets the credit. And so we think about that all the time. We're just here to make good parts, good quality parts. And if there's things that we can do better, then we rely on guys out in the industry to help us make those changes.
Well, I guess, I mean, coming from just to add to that, coming from, like I said, a smaller shop, it's refreshing to hear, because when we're dealing with other manufacturers that I would, call a smaller operation too, it's easier to get that feedback to people, but it's refreshing to hear even a company as large as Edelbrock would say, hey, if you notice something, even if it's a minor tweak, reach out, let us know. I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to come in ways of social media, but if it's something that we notice that can help make your products better, it's nice to hear from you guys basically telling us, hey, your input's appreciated. Because we do run into stuff like that all the time. So I appreciate the feedback on that, because that's definitely something I'll keep in mind, and I'll pass that along to my guys as well. If you see something that could be tweaked or modified, could make this a little bit better, let me know. We'll get it to the appropriate people so we can see if we can collaborate, make something work. Yeah,
That's exactly right.
Yeah, Nate, I
Perfect.
mean, with that being said, I mean, I can't tell you how many products are in our new product brochures over the years that are literally spurred off of customer request and customer insight. Our engine builders are our front line, and they literally help sometimes steer us in the right direction when it comes to things because they see it firsthand and they call us and they say, "Hey,
Yeah.
here's an issue. Can you fix it?" And
Yeah.
that's what we're here to do.
Yeah. No, that's, I mean, coming from a little guy, it's, somebody that doesn't have what I would consider the resources to develop a new product, 99% of the time. It's, knowing that you guys are open to that type of input from customers, from shops, other things like that, it makes what we're doing a whole lot more simple in terms of if we come up with an idea, yeah, we may not have the capability to do it ourselves, but we know people that can help us bring it to light, bring it to market. So
I think one of the things that drives us more too, Nate, is getting outside of the box. It's not just what you see in the cabinet. There's a lot of things that we do on a day-to-day basis. We make camshafts that we probably shouldn't make, but somebody comes to us and they say, "Hey, can you do this?" And it's a challenge. So we're looking for the next challenge. That's what keeps us all driving forward. I mean, if it was the same thing every day, if you had to come in and put tires on 72 Datsuns every day, you get tired of putting tires on 72 Datsuns. So we just look we look for that next great thing. So, hopefully Mike Sanders pushes some more stuff down the pipeline here to us this year, and we'll be on the road to launching some killer new products.
Maze, and just to spur off of that, don't we even have an active email address where customers can send us product suggestions and ideas? So we have a direct feed just for customers to do that to us.
Yeah, and they're all on the website.
Perfect.
And on each of our branding locations. And naturally, if they can't get into the right channel, they can always email one of us here at Edelbrock, and we'll make sure that we get that question answered for them. May not be something we can do, but we're sure going to try to do it.
Yeah, no, 100%.
All right. Let's see here. Let's go to Brian Shepard.
Yeah, hi. So my question was for Cindy, from a marketing chair there. How do you maintain your positive brand awareness?
Well, I'm gonna probably answer this a little more holistically from the standpoint of me not being with the company as long as I should in order to share some stories. But I'll say this, and I'll kind of feed off of what Chris Mays was saying a minute ago about the customer feedback, because I think that's one of the things that's most important about creating a positive brand is understanding our customers better and provide them with a better customer experience. So, if you can provide that, you're going to gain trust, you're going to gain loyalty. And I think another thing for us to do is to find that voice that has the right messaging at the right time that positions our products and our brand correctly. And then, taking that to the point of where we've got an online presence in the marketplace that's consistent with communication. Our customers are familiar with what they're going to be receiving. And when they receive it, they understand what it is that they're supposed to do with it. When they visit our website, when they look at a catalog, the customer experience, yet again, is that positive brand awareness, because when you experience it and you have a good experience, you will return each and every time.
Mm-hmm. Okay, great. Yeah, we've tried to implement a lot of that on our end as well, but we're obviously a fraction is big, but yeah, we tried to engage the customers as much as possible with instructional aids and informational aids and good photography and being available. All the seats in our company are enthusiasts and that kind of thing. So yeah, the overall customer experience has helped us tremendously.
Yeah, and I think relatability, Cindy, you're talking about there, finding the good, the right message. Who is the customer that you're trying to talk with, and how relatable are you to them as a
Right.
brand? And vice versa, when you find people out there that you feel are a good representation of what you want your brand to be as well, going both ways, being able to not only relate to your customers, but your customers relating to other customers, beyond Edelbrock home base. But yeah, I think there was Chris Mays, maybe you said this about the Datsun, but what's funny in this industry as we're talking hot rods, the hot rod today is different than the hot rod was 20 years ago, or even 40 years ago. It's just changing, it's evolving. And I know you had probably about 4 years ago, there was a vehicle from JH Restorations up in Canada. I think they're in Toronto, if I remember right. But do you guys remember what that car was? Not the Mustang they had, but was it a Datsun or?
Corolla.
Corolla.
Toyota Corolla.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that thing was pretty awesome. So it's not a car that my next door neighbor had one when I was 10 years old, and it did not look like that. But hot rods in general, the evolution of a hot rod is pretty awesome to see, because Datsun or Toyota today is a hot rod, and the things that they're doing with these cars, and the things that Edelbrock Group contributes to cars that you probably Vic Edelbrock would have never thought about maybe getting his parts on a Japanese car. Maybe he did, I don't know, but it's cool to see the evolution of these companies, reaching into markets that maybe the original idea of the company wasn't there to begin with. But going back to your point, Cindy, about relating to your customers, it's I think it's a moving target, and as companies are trying to figure out what's the next move, being able to have that relationship with your end user, it's critical that you're hearing what they say. All right, let's go to Zach Zamudio. So Zach,
Yeah, I'm here. Sorry.
okay.
So we do product development here, so that's why I'm wanting to kind of tap into this with you guys. Obviously, you're doing it at a large scale and doing all the manufacturing generally as much as you can in-house, I'm sure. But my question is, how do you identify opportunity and prioritize, new product development within the company? And that's mainly, I guess, to Mike Sanders, probably.
Yeah, that's a good question, Zach. So I'd like to break it down into maybe two different sections there. One, how we identify those new product trends through different avenues. I would say the first one would be probably competitive landscape analysis. We'll look at not only our offerings, but our competitors' offerings, and then we'll kind of create that white space to allow us to see, what they have and what we don't have. And at that point, it gives us those holes or white spaces that we can build opportunity upon. The second one would probably be customer feedback. We've touched on that, and industry needs, engine builders, car builders, everybody along that line, as they offer feedback to us, we'll work with the consumer, with the customer to develop a product. 100%. We feel that's one of the best ways to do it, because we get their insight and we have our technological capability here to actually produce the product. So it's a win-win for us, the customer, and the industry. The third one would be like SEMA market reports. So SEMA market reports are a great way to pinpoint high revenue categories. If you are all in touch with that, I'm on the MPMC Select Committee. We looking at those market reports, it breaks it down really in good detail, shows different markets that you can tap into and focus on. And I'd say last would be just a passion to understand the unknown through R&D. We want to create technological achievement. That way of thinking, it creates new products on accident, sometimes through failure analysis. So we're constantly doing R&D, pushing things to the extreme for that to fail it, and then figure out what we can do to make it better. And then from there, we can develop new products and create new technology for the industry. And I would say the second side of this, how we prioritize new product development, generally it's through revenue opportunity. Revenue opportunity is something we're all looking at from a business perspective. It's some of those are a little more complex as well, the higher in revenue opportunity you get to. So essentially, you're going to want to kick those projects off first to make sure that you have, one, a good return on investment, and two, you have the time to get them done and release them by the date that's required for it. I would say a second one to look at there would be time to market. Time to market, you can't always win the big ones, so you got to kind of balance it between the small wins and the big wins. So if we can develop smaller products that support our larger products or other products in the industry, those are those quick small wins that we can make and release quite fast. And I would say last to answer that would be cost. So our product management team does a really good job at developing business plans and business cases that allow the executive team here to really evaluate what is the best direction for our business. So with those detailed reports, it gives us not only forecast, market previews, how many vehicles, how many engines are out there in the market. And once you start to collectively get all that information together, you can make good business decisions for your company. And at that point, if it looks like it's a good market, well, let's start developing into it. Let's buy a vehicle. Let's start looking at what the needs are in the industry and start creating that. So that's hopefully that answers your question.
It did. I have a little elaboration on that too.
Yeah.
When you do all that research, you go and you support the tooling costs and you do whatever it takes to get it to market. Do you find that there's kind of a trend associated with the success of that product? Meaning, like, is it out the gate just a huge success usually for you guys, or is it like a slow burn and the momentum builds, or what do you kind of find when you bring something out? Also,
Yeah, that's something we experience. So the way I look at it and view it, we kind of take a crawl, walk, run approach to it. So I usually track new products within a 24-month period. That first 6 months to a year, really you're getting through the crawl and the walk stage. You're starting to gain marketing momentum. You're getting people to take it through a prototype development phase where they're driving it, giving good feedback. You're making adjustments on the fly. And then that second year after that, all that momentum's there is really where you target the majority of your marketing campaign and you start to make real sales. So it's definitely a crawl, walk, run approach for us.
great. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
All right. So Trent, good one. I have maybe a couple questions for you. So first question is, you're tasked with working, for the most part, I believe, you're tasked with working with your ambassadors, and I don't know if you call them ambassadors or influencers or what your take on all of that is, but what do you look for when you're working with ambassadors? What are you looking for to identify either a project or a race team or someone that you want to brand Edelbrock Group with?
Well, first off, you really have to think about who we are as a corporation. We race companies while our customers race cars, and we create products for almost every facet in this industry, everything from boat racing to demolition derbies. It doesn't matter. We have something that covers so many segments, and we really have to be open-minded to that when it comes to brand ambassadors. There's influencers, there's social media representatives, there's media, print, digital. There's several spectrums that you could go down, but to me, ambassadors makes a little bit of a higher level as far as our involvement with those individuals. And who do we look for? Well, we get requests on a daily basis, and we really try to find those that really fit our mold. And when I say a mold is you got to find somebody that really correlates to our customer base, that you could literally put an Edelbrock hat on them or a Comp Cam's hat on them and not be afraid of what they're going to post on social media. There has to be some some skin in the game on that in that case, because you have to be very trustworthy. If you put an ambassador on somebody, they are your representative when they go out into the public. Case in point, Clay Milliken. I'd put a Comp Cam's hat on him all day long. Everybody on this call from our department knows him, and he is an amazing drag racer as well as an amazing brand ambassador for us, because it doesn't matter where he is, what he's doing. He's always professional, fun, engaging, and always puts our company first. Doesn't matter what happens or if he has any issues, you never see that. And if he does have issues, he says, hey, look, what can we do to fix this? Or what can we do to this? I got this project. What can we do? What best suits Edelbrock? What best suits Comp Cams? And you really got to take that into consideration. You not only, you got to see who they are, what they are, as far as, what segments do they cater to? Drift, off-road, drag racing, marine, off-road. You can't put all your eggs in one basket. So you sort of got to spread it out. There's a lot of great potential out there for ambassadors. And hopefully what we can do is keep spreading that out as years come down the road. And we keep, finding new representatives. But yeah, it's just have fun with it. Is the best thing you can do. You gotta have fun with it while you can trust that individual to best put your brand first, because you never want somebody in our environment, with our company, with our image. We wouldn't want somebody wearing a Comp Cam's hat and saying every other cuss word. That's just not who we are. That's not what we represent. We perceive ourselves as a family, entity. We want to keep that personal touch. And with that being said, that also plays a role. When somebody sends in a request, we do our due diligence. We'll look at their social media feeds. They're from YouTube to Instagram to TikTok to, we're going to do a deep dive, because, that person will represent us, and we've got to make sure we got our ducks in a row. And it's across the spectrum, like I said, depending upon which aspects we're trying to push, what products we're trying to promote, that also plays a role. So if we are needing to push a supercharger for an off-road segment, well, we're going to have to start looking into those, categories to see who fits this and where can we find a home, and does it make sense? Does that answer your question?
Yep. And that makes me think about when we were building the Wagoneer, something that Nate's dad said. Rob, as we were going through that process in a video, we did a series of videos on that, and in one of the videos he says, we're not car builders, we're problem solvers, and at the end of the project we end up with a car, right? And you're really looking, I think, as you're talking, it's making me think about that. You're really looking for problem solvers, people that are going to help Edelbrock solve problems in the industry. So
yeah, I mean, and we, you could also look at the other spectrum of brand ambassadors. Sometimes we provide products, sometimes we offer more heavier incentives, but our most important asset to offer a brand ambassador or a sponsor request or anything of that nature is the personal touch. And what that means is when they pick up the phone or when they email us, they're literally talking to somebody that wants to help them. We want to create that relationship to where they feel comfortable talking to us about anything and everything. Like, I can't tell you how many times I've had people call just to say what they did over the weekend, not even to talk car parts. You know, that to us is way more important, is, you know, that relationship with these, you know, with these brand representatives. You know, that's, you know, very imperative. And because we want that to carry on to them reaching out to customers. When they're talking to customers, you know, we want that personal touch.
Yep. Perfect. All right. I think we have time for one more question. Tom Maddock, we'll go ahead and turn the time over to you.
All right. Well, we've talked a lot about how diverse the automotive market is. My question's for Sean. Are there particular areas of the market or particular demographics that you guys are targeting right now? And does that change?
Great question, because well, like you said, so we are so diverse as far as what our products touch. So really, I wouldn't say there's an exact demographic, because we have drag racers, we have hot rodders, we have, you know, circle track dirt racers, all that kind of stuff. So it's a specific demographic, not necessarily, but some of that will come in now that Cindy's here. We're going to be doing a lot more work on, you know, funneling some of the stuff and knowing like what our customer wants, like, especially for me, like, because I write for the EG Nation. So I got to get into doing a lot more tech articles and things like that, and trying to find out exactly what kind of tech articles people are wanting to digest. That'll be something that we'll be able to funnel down through some of the social media stuff and just website demographics and things like that. So we haven't done a lot since I've been here, as far as like that kind of research and digging into exactly who our customer is. I mean, essentially we do know the customer. He's a racer, he's a hot rodder, you know, obviously it's an engine person. But it's not always the same level, I guess. You know, when you're looking at a drag racer compared to a hot rodder, they're going to be looking a lot deeper than a hot rodder would. You know, I mean, hot rodder just wants an engine that's going to run really good, and a drag racer wants it to the nth degree without blowing up. So yeah, so it's interesting. I'm actually pretty excited about Cindy coming on board, because she'll be digging a lot more into that, where I haven't had that background that much. So I think it'll be something that's going to help out a lot for sure.
All right.
Yeah, just to
Yeah, thank you.
piggyback on that, like Sean was saying, is we do cover so many spectrums of racing and car enthusiasts, and a lot of those do blend lines. We do sometimes those the hot rodder is a drag racer, but a lot of sometimes it's one or the other. But they also may do other activities on the side of the road. In fact, and I'll leave it at this. One of the most unique requests that I've ever received was for a camshaft for a tugboat. You never know. So there is tugboat racing, in case anybody wants to search that. There's tugboat racing.
We make a lot of cams for tractors too, right? So
yeah, it is a broad market.
I actually want to add one more thing to that, to Sean's comments. So when you really look at Edelbrock's portfolio of business, it doesn't just stop at hot rods or drag racing or the marine industry. We also have a massive foundry over in the West Coast. And we also look for foundry business for castings, OEM, private label business. So if anybody out there is looking for their own custom cylinder head in high volumes, or a custom casting, and it doesn't even have to be automotive related, we have all of these opportunities and the diversity to give you exactly what you want. So we have a huge range of products that we can offer the world.
Did we just get a new 3D core printer so we can speed up that whole process too?
We do. So we have a 3D core printer. It's called an X1. So our prototype time, generally from CAD model to final product and casting, I've had them as soon as 2 weeks. So like last year when we released our Gen 3 Hemi cylinder head with all new features, by the time the model was pushed over to our foundry, they printed cores, they made castings and machined them within 2 weeks. So we're able to fit it, look at it, make sure things are working correctly, and then bring it to the show and then ask for feedback on improvements. And that type of thing alone sets us aside from a lot of other businesses out there. And I feel like that's something that everyone in this panel and listening can leverage.
What, excuse me, to expand on that, how many casting processes is there? I mean, like what type of casting is it generally, or is there multiple types of casting?
From a little like material standpoint, or the type of casting that we produce?
No, I'm saying like the casting process. It's like investment casting or sand casting, or that's what I'm asking.
Yeah, so we have a dry sand line, we have a permanent mold line, and then we have a green sand line. So we have 3 different casting lines. The green sand line is robotically poured. We're also heavily investing into other robotics where we have 2 deburring stations now out there. It's really a state-of-the-art foundry in the United States for aluminum. So any of your aluminum needs, inside automotive, outside automotive, it doesn't matter. We could produce it for you.
So how would I go about talking with somebody about that? Because we have multiple castings happening overseas, only for a cost, only because of cost. But it would be interesting to see what those costs look like on some of that stuff and see if it's an option to do it in the US. I mean, historically, from my research, I haven't been able to do anything in the US because it's always crazy expensive. But
Sure.
yeah, I mean, if you guys have every operation in-house, then maybe it can be more affordable. And
Yeah,
so
yeah.
made in America, that's the goal. But yeah, so I'd love to be able to talk to somebody about some of that stuff.
Yeah, you can forward that to me. I can search.
Yeah, and the foundry has its own
Awesome.
website as well, doesn't it, Mike? Yeah.
It does. Yeah, you could reach out direct. But I mean, through product management here, it'd probably be the best way to vet it for you. We can get an inside line on it. So
Yeah.
And Mike,
Cool.
you're strictly aluminum. You don't do any iron castings?
yeah, strictly aluminum, just aluminum.
All right, well, let's just one more thing before we wrap up. Cindy, I'm wondering, is there anything that you it's on your mind that you'd like to share, or and if not, is there something that someone told you along the way that had an impact on you personally that you feel has been helpful for you in your career?
In my career?
Yes.
Well, okay. From a marketing perspective, I will share this, that regardless of the things that you've put in place, you should always step back. You should always take a different perspective and look at things. You can always undo and you can always create. But if you create a good foundation of whatever it is you're doing, you can always build upon that and build success.
I like that.
Good.
It's a good parting statement right there, Trent.
We'll end on that. Thank you, everybody, for being here. We appreciate it. We know you're all busy, a lot to do, but to have this conversation with this group has been really helpful. We've recorded it. We're going to put it out towards the end of the week and share it with everybody. And just want to say thank you for taking the time. We appreciate it. And we'll talk to y'all later down the road.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Enjoyed it.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Trent.
Yeah, thank you.
Come on.
Yep.
All right.